welcome to Strictly Sports. I am Jacob Brown, joined here with CJ Uri and Steve Cashin. We're going to give our Super Bowl predictions and talk about Matt Stafford being traded to the Rams, along with all the other NFL transactions, and then we'll touch on a little bit of baseball at the end. If you guys can't tell, my voice is like halfway here right now. No, I don't have the Rona, but I do have some little bit of cold. My voice isn't really there, so Steve and CJ will do most of the talking today. We did get to go to NFL Radio Row this week. We got to interview retired NFL offensive lineman for the Tampa Bay Bucks, Randy Grimes. You could follow him on Twitter and Instagram at SoberCenter60. He was a great interview, a great guy, and he does a lot with his foundations to help former players recover from drug addiction. So you could check that interview out on our podcast platforms. As for today, but other than that, at Radio Row, we were talking about it. It was definitely a dud. Last year, CJ, you remember, it was like walking into Hollywood. And then this year, Steve and I walk in and it's like a library. So, COVID definitely affected stuff, but it was still a great experience. So, CJ, how you been doing? It's been a few weeks.
Yeah. So I've been working a lot. It's good to be back on the show. I've been missing talking about sports. It's always been good to be able to do that on prior to getting a job, but I've got a job now and it's 9 to 5 to start my career. So that's good. So I'll definitely be on whenever I can be on. But yeah, no, to your point, Radio Row last year was like literally, I felt like I was in Hollywood, literally. There was a point where you and I were sitting at a table with Joe Montana and Katie Couric. And then next thing you know, we're walking around and we're just standing in a conversation with Baker Mayfield and Brett Favre. And nobody even second guesses it because it's Radio Row. These people are here doing their radio shows. So it was awesome. We interviewed 4 or 5 players last year, past NFL players. Marlins, man, what a time. So I'm sorry that you guys didn't get the full experience that I guess, from last year, especially Steve, but Steve will be back next year, I'm sure, and be able to experience what it really is like.
Yeah, man, we're trying to get to LA next year. It would be awesome.
Talking to that guy from the NFL, he's like, this is not how it normally is run. Like the first day we got there, I'm like, well, shit, this is how it's going to be all week. But, what do you expect in the middle of a pandemic? The NFL has been strict about it. And we knew going in, you weren't going to be able to interview, live players. So it was cool to see how the production goes on, but, maybe get a chance to go to LA next year. And
in a normal year, next year. Okay. So Miami was nuts. Jacob and I were sitting there and then Deontay Wilder walked in and just literally, I'm not even kidding, was standing right next to our table with his whole posse of heavy hitters. I don't even know who they were. But
yeah, dude, I remember Saquon brushed my shoulder and I didn't even know. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Anyone was there. It was nuts. Kevin Hart, I think, was there.
Oh, yeah.
The Old Spice guy from all those commercials was getting interviewed right next to us. I'm talking
was it Terry Crews?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, Derrick Henry was just standing, not even kidding around. Derrick Henry was just standing there. And Jacob and I were just like, what's up? It's just, guys that were getting drafted, like Justin Jefferson, whoever that safety was from LSU that went back to school. Just they're just walking around, having a good time. And they're all walking with agents. So basically you just walk up to their agent and you're like, can I get him for 30 minutes? And they're like, yeah, I can. He has a break in his schedule for 30 minutes. You write him down and then boom, he'll be at your table at that time. And then you interview him. It's crazy. Super cool, but hopefully, because I'm thinking Miami was nuts, but LA would be because it's LA, so every single Hollywood, whatever will be there for the Super Bowl. So definitely, if you guys can go.
Oh, absolutely. So we skipped a few weeks on Strictly Sports, so we never got to talk about the Matt Stafford trade. So he gets traded from the Detroit Lions to the Los Angeles Rams. Pretty big deal. I mean, and Jared Goff going the other way. There were a few picks that went to the Lions as well. I looked at it initially. I was like, listen, I feel like Detroit could have got a little bit more here. Most of the NFL analysts were like, no, Detroit got what they – I'm like, why? I mean, Matt Stafford's a top 10 quarterback, arguably, top 7, top 6, throws 4,000 plus yards a year, and he's on crappy teams. I feel like you put him in LA with McVay, he might be a top 5 quarterback. That's no exaggeration. The dude can throw. Maybe he's not as mobile as he used to be, but he can throw. Give him weapons, give him a system. I think he'll be great. And the Rams right now, they're not in a position where they even care about giving away draft picks. They have the money to pay for people. They have pre-existing rosters. They've got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. They don't need to draft their next big corner or next big wide receiver. They already have all that. So I think this is a big deal for the Rams. Clearly next year, you look at them, they're probably the NFC West favorites, maybe even the NFC favorites. I don't know if we can go that far, especially with the way that the Bucs have played this year. But what was your guys' initial reaction to Matt Stafford going to the Rams?
I would say that my initial reaction was the Lions fleeced the Rams. I mean, look, Matt Stafford is great, and I'm very excited to see him on a team that is focused on winning and not where their draft pick is going to be. So that's good because he's a quarterback that, if you look at his stats, he's been a top 10 quarterback for the last 11 years, 10 years. Like, the guy deserves a shot at winning. He's carried the Lions. If Matt Stafford isn't with Detroit for the last decade, they are literally bottom 3 team every year. That's how good he's been. And granted, though, he's had some wide receiver weapons while there. He had Megatron, he had Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay recently. Like, those guys were good. So he had a decent cast, but he never had the coach. He never had the O-line. He never had the running back. And he's going to go to a system that has the coach, has a decent O-line, has a young stud running back in Cam Akers, and 2 guys in Henderson and Malcolm Brown that can run the ball. So Stafford, for him, good. That's a win. He gets out of Detroit. For the Rams, what are you doing? You just said, what was it, 3 first-round picks?
Yeah.
3 first-round picks plus Jared Goff. So here, if I'm the Lions, I'm like, hey, Jared, it's your job this year. If it goes well, boom, you're our quarterback going forward. We have 3 more first-round picks. We'll build around you. If you're awful and you're not showing any promise, hey, you're out. We're done. And we've got 3 first-round picks. And guess what? We'll draft a quarterback. So they're in they're in an awesome spot right now. And it's almost similar to what the Dolphins were in for the last couple of years, to where it's like, hey, we'll bring in Josh Rosen. We'll bring in Fitzpatrick. Do what you guys can. If we're not sold, we're going to draft Tua. Like, it's a great situation. So I think the Lions were the biggest winners in the trade. Stafford's a winner, but I just don't think the Rams' future of that franchise is going to be good. It's so similar to what LA teams do, though. What do LA teams do? They dish out these unbelievable contracts. They're in win now mode always. They're never in like a future, like, I'm going to build. So not surprising, but it also hurt Deshaun Watson. So
it did hurt Deshaun for sure.
Because if that's what they're going to get for Stafford, Deshaun's worth double that. So
yeah, no, that trade kind of took me by surprise. I was out, and all of a sudden, get the alert, Matt Stafford to the Rams, and you're like, holy shit, because he's been with Detroit since 2009. From day one he's been there. But looking at some stats now, and this guy's thrown 8 of his 12 years, he's thrown over 4,000 yards, and in years where he hasn't been healthy, he's still throwing close to 4,000, and he's throwing touchdowns. He doesn't throw many interceptions. He's the perfect guy that you want in a system where things are shaped up to be for success, like the Rams. McVay wants to move the ball, and you've got all these weapons with you. Cam Akers, CJ touched on it, and he's been in Detroit for so long with just minimal talent and coaching carousels, and there's no consistency there. And now he finally gets a shot at winning with some sort of a culture there. So CJ made a great point. It's win now mode in LA, it seems like, all the time, and it's like, you get to the playoffs and now we're going to make our run. They're 3 years out of a Super Bowl now, 2-3 years since they lost to the Patriots. So the window there is kind of up and down. It's closing, I think. And with Stafford, I think he's got 3-4 years left in the league. So now this is his chance to, hey, let's go win a ring and let's go do it. But I think they won the trade big time, and now Goff goes to Detroit. I think, to be honest, we're going to see him fall off the face of the earth. He's just struggling to stay relevant out in LA. Now going to Detroit, it's going to be a nightmare situation for him over there.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Stafford having probably 3 or 4 years left. I think it might even be a little bit more than that. I mean, 33 years old in the NFL now is more like 28. the ages now are so different. I mean, Russell Wilson was on a Cowherd show the other day, and he's like, yeah, no, I want to play for the next 10 to 15 years. I'm already planning for that. Brady's like, yeah, I want to play past 45. These guys now, they realize there's conditioning out there. There's things you can do to keep playing. Now, maybe 3 to 4 years left at this level Stafford has.
Yeah.
And then once, you get to 38, he starts to dip off like Breeze did. But you never know. But I wanted to get into this with CJ because I know we're all going to disagree about this one. I think that Deshaun Watson should go to the Dolphins, or the Dolphins should make a play for him. CJ adamantly does not believe that. I think that, okay, so Tua's good. I'm not saying that I'm against Tua. I'm just saying Tua will never, ever be Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's a top 5, top 3 quarterback. I think he can win you a Super Bowl. I think Tua might be able to get you to a Super Bowl. I don't think he'll ever be Deshaun Watson. He doesn't have the arm. I think he might be a better runner than Deshaun, but he does not have the arm talent or the accuracy or anything like that. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm making a play for Deshaun Watson, but I want to hear what you have to say, CJ.
So look, it's actually, the way I see it is it's a good situation to be in, because it's like I'm picking between, building around Tua with draft picks. I have the 3rd overall pick. I've got the 18th pick. I've got 2 early second rounders. Like, that this draft will be fun if we don't trade the picks away, and we get to see what Tua is going to be like next year with an actual supporting cast, which I think he'll be very good. Or we just get Deshaun, and we were a 10-win team. We were a 10-win team without Deshaun. We're probably a 12-win team with Deshaun. So I will concede that after watching Mahomes the last 3 years, and especially this year, nothing short of Deshaun or Josh Allen in the AFC will probably get it done. Now, I think the Browns are set up for success with Stefanski and Baker. I think Baker took a massive leap this year, especially the second half of the year. But I don't even know if they can get it done in a playoff game, because as you saw, Mahomes went down and the Chiefs still won. So I don't know if anything short of Deshaun or Josh Allen gets you to the Super Bowl, because the Chiefs are so well coached and they've just got such a good team. And Mahomes is getting to at least 24 points every game. But I will say this. I think Tua can be exactly what Drew Brees was, if not better. Tua's got more wiggle than Drew Brees ever really had in his career, and they've got a similar arm. And people are like somehow forgetting all the unbelievable deep balls that Tua threw in college. And prior to this season, they were basically saying his pro comparison's Russell Wilson, just a little less of the running. And it's true. I mean, that's how he played football. So people are like forgetting that Tua was like the most electric college football quarterback in the last like 2 years prior to his injury. Everyone was tuning in for a Bama game because he made every single throw, every throw there was to make, every play there was to make. People forget he played in the damn SEC for 2 or 3 years. He was playing against round 1 D linemen, round 1 cornerbacks, round 1 linebackers. And granted, he was throwing up receivers that were posting all-American numbers, and I get it. But he was making every single throw. So my opinion is, you're not trading every pick you have and future first rounders for Deshaun, who would walk in to the same situation Tua was in, 0 weapons. They won 10 games with playing 3 tight ends on the field. Shaheen, Gesicki, Smythe were playing at the same time and on the same play. I'm sorry, no quarterback is beating the Chiefs, or granted, the damn Bills in a playoff game when you have no weapons. And it's fact. And look at what the Bills are doing. They're already supposed to be aggressively pursuing Aaron Jones this year. They're going to upgrade. So the way I see it is, you bring in Deshaun, you're not going to have a complete offensive roster, and you're going to heavily rely on Deshaun bailing you out a lot of games offensively. The defense will be good, but Deshaun's going to have to do a lot of it. You keep Tua, defense will be good, and you're going to have playmakers that can shoulder the burden of creating big plays. So I'm on the board of keep Tua, keep your picks, roll the dice.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, because we had this conversation with Zach earlier this week, and we were debating, because he's kind of the same boat as you, where he was saying, no, I like Tua, I'm a believer in him, but at the same time, you have Deshaun Watson who's sitting there, and now you have this window, and I made this point where, you had this window to get such a generational type player, and we know what Deshaun Watson is. 3 years in the league, and this guy's is a warrior. And last year, winning 4 games, I think they could have realistically won 11 games. That defense was horrendous. I mean, he was just battling just all the adversity the Texans have been going through with Bill O'Brien trading guys away, just nothing there. And, you've seen what he can produce in the field. Now that's proven. Tua, on the other hand, it's a 1 year in, great season, up and down, battling, getting benched, starting. What's going to happen sophomore year with him? Does he go through a slump, playing a full slate of games? So there's the level of uncertainty, but yeah, you watch the Dolphins more than I do. So giving up all this draft capital, and do you sell the house for a guy like Deshaun? I think, is it worth the risk? Yes, because I think he can win you a championship title with that defense that Miami has. But at the same time, if you're giving all these things up, now you're putting yourself back 2 years to build that roster around him. And I think that's what they saw in Houston, was they were relying on him so much to put up 30 points a game, 30, 40 points and win. You can't do that week in and week out the NFL. So it's a situation where if you can get him for the right price, yes, you go and get him. But if they're asking for, we saw like what, with Stafford, you gave up all those picks. Now, can you make a deal? Can you give up 2 players currently and then give up picks and get them? It's just it's however the Dolphins want to go and approach it. So
like, he's worth the risk. Like, he's worth the price. Like, whatever somebody asks for, he's worth it. It's just, do you want to mortgage your future? Because what you are doing if you get Deshaun is you're not having first rounders for the next 2 years for sure. 2 is out the window. They might even ask for a second round pick. All that draft capital that everyone's been excited about will be out the window. And these are key picks because they want to add a wide receiver. They want to add a first-round O-lineman. They want to add those pieces. And if they don't have them, and then they add Deshaun Watson's payroll to the books, they can't really like even sign an O-lineman in free agency.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Like, what's their cap situation like if they got Deshaun?
Miami they're on the back half of the top 10 of the best like cap space right now in the league. I think they're like 8th or 7th. They're not 9 or 10, but they're like 8th or 7th. So they've got enough money. And everybody's saying that we're going to go out and try to get Juju. Everybody's saying we're going to try to go out and get A-Rob and draft Devonta Smith. So could you imagine, Tua, if we got an O-lineman round 1, a wide receiver round 1, and got a Juju who can play in the slot? He would be able to sit back there and just start throwing. And the thing is he couldn't do that this past year because no one was creating separation. The Dolphins had the top 5 worst receiver separation in the league. They had a stat for it and everything. He was throwing to guys that were like, dude, our leading receiver for the last 3 games of the year was Lynn Bowden, who played quarterback at University of Kentucky. Which, look, Lynn Bowden played well, but he's not your guy if you're trying to win down the stretch, right? So, in my opinion, if Deshaun comes, he's going to run into the same problem Tua did. Now, obviously, Deshaun is better than Tua. He's way better than Tua right now. Like, Deshaun's a top 3 quarterback, top 5 quarterback. Never going to dispute that. He's amazing. And maybe he'll turn these guys into gold, but that's a dice roll. This is what the Pats did with Brady. They gave him literal shit in New England. A bunch of slot guys, a bunch of, you made the roster, now go give it our all. System guys, as Danny Amendola would like to say. And Brady was fed up with it. He was done with it. He kept looking at Bill. He kept looking at the Patriots front office. It's like, yo, go get me another Randy Moss. I enjoyed that. Did you see the season I had with Randy? I want to do that again. They were like, no. Here's Julian Edelman. We'll keep rolling out Julian Edelman. You got Julian Edelman. Like, quarterbacks don't like that. And I'm not saying that.
Here's this 6-rounder from Harvard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here. Or hey Brady, we want to keep you in New England. Let me draft the safety from Lenore Ryan, 2nd round.
So you're like, what are we doing here? What's the direction? And look what happened when he got weapons in Tampa. I mean, he's having the time of his life here, man. He's got everyone to throw to.
He's being
exactly
media. Like look, dude.
And so if Miami goes that direction and you have all this draft capital to get all these guys, and it's a loaded draft again this year. I mean, you build it around the guy, and defense is good enough to win you any game. Now, offensively, like you said, throwing a janitors in closet, like it's crazy. But if you give that guy weapons, like he's played in the SEC with Devontae Smith, Waddle, all those guys. I mean, it's Judy. So you give him the weapons, and he'll thrive in that environment.
Here's what I'm saying: unless Tua has some like. First of all, I think he's going to have a breakout year next year. Now, his breakout year is not going to be Josh Allen's breakout year this year, but it's going to be a breakout year. I expect him to be closer to the 30 touchdown mark. I don't think he's going to throw many interceptions. He's going to be good. And when he is not making mistakes and he's and he's securing the ball, that means he's not forcing touchdowns in these massive plays. What that's going to do is it's going to keep his contract down. I don't think Tua is ever going to be this unbelievably expensive guy. And when you have a quarterback that you can win with, who makes the throws, and you don't have to pay him Deshaun Watson money or Patrick Mahomes money, you have money to go upgrade the rest of the team. I'm saying you bring Deshaun in. Your team is your team. Like that. Like there's not much room for like, hey, I want to go out and get this guy. I want to go out and get that guy, because Deshaun Watson's money is just below Patrick Mahomes' money.
That's a great point, but I'll end it with this. When you said in the beginning, short of Josh Allen or Deshaun Watson, there's really no one else that can get through Mahomes in the AFC. First of all, that made me think, goddamn, for the next 15, 20 years, we're going to be seeing this every fucking year. But maybe that's what pushes Miami over the edge to do it. But it's one of those situations where it's a great problem to have, because there's pros and cons to each, and we'll see what happens.
But I'll tell you real quick before we move on, just to tell you, like, confirm your point. Travis Kelce is still only 31. So he's got like two or three like great years left of his prime, because he's just a beast. And I'll tell you how old Tyreek Hill is. Tyreek Hill's
in his 20s.
Tyreek Hill is 26.
Dude,
they're set. Like it's just like, and Mahomes, the next tight end that they bring in is going to be an all-pro. So.
Oh, of course. Hey, well, it's time to predict that Super Bowl. I think. I think you texted me, CJ. You have the Chiefs winning. I've been going with the Bucs the last 2 weeks in the playoffs. Most people on TV, on radio, they were going against the Bucs. It's like, oh, Packers are number 1 seed, Aaron Rodgers MVP, and then it was, oh, the Saints beat the Bucs twice, and now you're going into the Super Bowl, and it's like, oh, they're playing Mahomes. I think Brady likes the underdog this year, man. I think he's going to win. It pains me to say it. I never thought I'd say that I'm joining the Brady train. I never thought I'd be on Adiel's side and on anything, but I am. I think the Bucs are going to win this game. And here's a key factor. The Chiefs' offensive line, and we talked to Randy Grimes about this in our interview, 2 of their 5 offensive linemen are out because of, I think it's either COVID or injury. They're out. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line is one of the best D lines in football. They're the second best rush defense in the league, or they finish first in the league. That's a big problem for me. If Mahomes has to be rushed and you have basically a makeshift offensive line going into the Super Bowl against that D line, to me, that might cause problems. I think the Bucs are going to win. It's obviously going to be close. But last year I predicted the 49ers would win. I went against Mahomes. So there's that part of me that's like, God damn, are you really going against Mahomes again? You're going to go 0-2 with this guy. But I just feel it, man. It's the same feeling I've been feeling for the last month with Brady. He's on this other cloud right now. He's in Brady land right now. He's just in that winning mode. I think they're going to win the game. What do you guys think?
Once again, I think the media is doing the dirty work for me. Everyone's picking the Chiefs. I'm not going to pick a winner. You already know what I do before every game. I've already put the wager down. So the deed's been set. But anyways, I just think, I don't know. Everyone's just not, I don't think anyone's giving Tampa a chance. I think it's going to be close. Everyone's picking the Chiefs in a nail biter, rightfully so. They're the defending champions. But I just like the way the defense has been playing all postseason. I think they're finding ways to get turnovers, be opportunistic. Does that make it where they're going to win? No. Mahomes has turned the ball over 2-3 times in a game, and he's won those games, and which is kind of frightening to see. But it's going to be a battle like it's been every playoff game, I think. To factor in, tell Brady that he has no chance in this game, where I think people are going, oh, it's Mahomes, the Mahomes show. It's the Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. I think people better be careful what they're saying here, because Brady takes that personally. I just think giving him no chance going into this game, it's dangerous, but it's going to be a battle. Can they contain Tyreek Hill? If not, it's going to be a long day. It could be just like the first matchup where they have 17 points in a blink of an eye. So the explosiveness on both sides of the ball, it's going to be fun to watch. I hope it's high scoring and a fun game to watch.
And by the way, they're the home team.
Yep. First time ever.
Look, I will concede that at the beginning of the year, I wasn't sold on the Bucks, and it wasn't that I wasn't sold on the offense. I wasn't sold that Brady's arm was going to come in because, Jameis Winston threw a ton of interceptions, but he's got a laser arm that the guy can throw out of the stadium. People don't realize that he had the arm, and that's why a lot of those guys had a ton of stats. Now, I didn't know if Brady was going to come in and throw that crappy football he was throwing in New England the year before, but hey, he came down to Florida and his arm was rejuvenated, and I was on the opposite side. First of all, I didn't think the Bucks were going to be very good. I thought they were a fringe wild card team, and I thought that Rodgers was going to spank them in the conference championship game. I was wrong about all of it, but unfortunately, I can't stop now. I do think the Chiefs are going to win. I think the Chiefs will win by. I would say that it'll go down to the wire because Brady. There's no way Brady's there's no this is gonna be a blowout. No way. It's gonna be a really good game. I think it's gonna be high scoring. I think the first 2 quarters are gonna be electric. I think the defenses are gonna be trying to figure out the offenses. I think that both defenses aren't gonna come out scared, but they're gonna come out a little timid, not wanting to let that big play happen, and it's gonna happen. I think Brady and Mahomes have their way with both defenses, but I think that in the fourth quarter there will be some key stops because what I've seen from Brady is over the last few games, even going into regular season, he's turned the ball over a bit. And I got to say that Chiefs defense has some ball hawks on it. And Mahomes scores on every single turnover. The guy does not waste a turnover. And you saw in that NFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers wasted 3 straight interceptions. And I'm just sitting here saying, Mahomes is not going to do that. Mahomes is not doing that. Mahomes is going to score at least 2 of those. So that scares me a little bit. So what I'm thinking is late third, early fourth. I think that there's a big turnover by the Bucks, and I actually don't think it'll be Brady. I think it'll be like a fumble or a special teams error. Mahomes will get the ball in a good territory, score, and then this will be slightly out of reach for the Bucks. Late comeback will fall short. I believe Chiefs by 4.
Yeah, I think you have it teed up perfectly too. Like that scenario right there. Now you went with the Chiefs side of the ball. I mean, I think it's going to be whatever happens going into the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be you get to the fourth. It's two. Each team gets 2 possessions, and that's going to be who's going to make that play. Is going to be the Chiefs defense? Is it the Bucks defense? Who's going to turn the ball over? And I said that going into the Packers game. I told Jacob that was whoever wins the turnover battle but scores the points off of it is going to win that game. And the Packers they turned the ball over more than the Bucks did, but they wasted those opportunities. Like you said, Bucks had the turnover, the fumble from Aaron Jones, go and score on 1 play. Picked off Aaron Rodgers, throw it to Scotty Miller. I mean, that's 14-point swing there. Look at what happened at the end of the game. So it's going to be that going into Sunday, who's going to make the mistakes. And I think we're in for a great game no matter what.
So I'm looking forward to this one. So CJ, that means the line I believe is still -3. So you're taking Chiefs -3.
Yes, I would take Chiefs -3. And look, I'm sitting here and genuinely, I would be beyond happy for my friends. I have many friends that I went to FAU that are from Tampa Bay Bucks fans. Steve, many other guys. I would be genuinely happy for them if they won. Part of me wants Mahomes to get this second ring out of the way so I could stop wanting him to win multiple rings. Once he gets that second one, I could care less. I don't want you winning another one. I actually like Mahomes. I wanted him to win 2. I genuinely wanted the guy to win 2, and then after that, he can completely fuck off and go somewhere else.
Hate him for the next 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want the Chiefs. After you get 2, I don't have any sympathy vote for you anymore, right? I have a sympathy vote for Drew Brees. I want him to get a second so bad. I have a sympathy vote for Russell Wilson. I want him to
Aaron Rodgers.
I want Aaron Rodgers to get another one so bad. I want Stafford to get 1 ring. I genuinely want these guys to get a ring, and I wanted Mahomes to get 2, and now I could care less about him ever winning another one. Let's see somebody else win it. But real quick, I want to tell you guys my Super Bowl MVP predictions for both sides of the ball.
Ooh, okay.
That are not Mahomes or Brady, because that's an easy answer. I'm going to go on the Chiefs side of the ball and say Travis Kelce. I'll say Travis Kelce has like 9 receptions for like 140, 145, a touchdown or two. He will be that guy who will be up there for MVP if the Chiefs win. And then I'll say on the Bucs side of the ball, I'm going a little bold here. Antonio Brown will have a freak show game against the Chiefs. I think regardless of if they win or not, I think Brown has an awesome game. I think they get him involved in so many ways, whether it's a jet sweep, whether it's a screen and go, whether it's a go route. Brady and Brown are going to be a big factor of this game, I believe, because they're going to have to be not doubling, but they're going to have to worry about Godwin and Evans and that frees up Brown. So I'll say Brown on the other side of the ball.
Dude, I love that. Also, this might be a little tinfoil hat here, but I really feel like the Bucs have been hiding Antonio Brown when they use him. They're like, we don't want anyone thinking that he's even on the team, because I think they want him for a game like this to be like, okay, now he's a total decoy. That's a great pick by you.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of nervous right now. I'm not going to lie, now that we're talking about it, but we're rolling the keg later today. And I'm just going to tell you, if they win tomorrow, they're not going to be able to stop us. We are going to riot somehow, some way in downtown. But I don't know. I never wanted to win more, but this is just, it's going to be hard. And I do like the AB pick because he's been laying the weeds and no one really kind of remembers that he's around. But yeah, somehow get him in the game plan. It'll be nice to get a weapon back. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they can score enough points. I think regardless, you have to score 35 points minimum to win this game on Sunday.
Absolutely. And I got one final question here. If Mahomes does lose, this is going to lurk over him literally for the rest of his career. He can go off, win 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls, and all everyone will ever say is, you lost to the GOAT, you lost to Brady. So I think that factor is going to be in Mahomes' head too. That he's like, I don't want to hear this shit for the rest of my life.
Well, not only that, he already has lost to Brady.
Right.
He's lost. He's 0-1 against Tom, and if he never plays Tom again in the playoffs, which could happen because Tom will retire in Tampa. Tom will retire in the NFC, and Mahomes has to go the rest of his career being 0-2 to one guy, Tom Brady, because he's not going to be 0-2 to anybody else because he's at least going to have a win. That's not going to be good, and I agree that'll be a talking point for the rest of Mahomes' career. He could never do it against Brady.
Yeah, no, it'll be rough. Also, one last thing.
Fucking twink.
What is that?
Jackson Mahomes.
I just hope they lose. I hate that kid. You know, the genes skipped a generation, that family. You see the Twitter? See Twitter yesterday? Hello world, it's OJ Mahomes.
My God,
it's terrible.
That's the only reason we want them to lose, right there.
No, I want them. I want the Chiefs to win so that I can get like an elite Jackson Mahomes TikTok on the field.
I haven't found him yet in Tampa yet.
The biggest allure of them winning is to just see to see that guy just do these ridiculous dances in front of a ton of people. And to be honest, like, I'm not even trying to bash the guy. He's not very good at it. Like no. You would think that over a year and a half now of doing TikToks, he would be like decent at dancing. He's so not. Like, he's just so not good. And it's like, it's all like out of control. I don't know. Just not.
Portnoy tweeted out, he's like, yeah, come on the show. And then they're like TikTok podcast. And he's like, no. And they disrespect my family. He goes, well, when you make TikToks like an asshole, you know, it's kind of warranted.
That's Jackson Mahomes. You got to understand, man, you're famous. You get millions of likes on your stuff. You need to take the heat from the media. It is what it is.
Did you guys see also Portnoy went after Jose Canseco last night because he was doing a fight against this guy. I hadn't even heard of it. Like some guy named Billy.
Through the fight, they actually Jose Canseco threw the fight against, I guess, the Billy Football, who's the intern at Barstool. And I didn't watch, but I
biggest
saw
sham.
The highlight. Yeah, like they refunded every Jose Canseco bet because he literally threw the fight. Like, that was not in the cards, wasn't even scripted. He literally threw the fight.
Yeah,
and by the way, Jose Canseco follows the Strictly Sports account. Regardless, we're trolling him here.
Yeah, you rat. You fucking wasted 3 hours of my life. You know, Jose Canseco threw the fight. whatever. I don't care. He follows this thing, but yeah, I wasted 3 hours of watching shitty boxing, and then I get, the one fight I want to watch. 15 seconds in, Billy doesn't even land a punch, and Jose's like, my shoulder. I tore my shoulder. I'm like, bro, come on. And then
it was such BS. We're about to hit our time limit here, guys. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Hopefully, Steve's celebrating next week. Bucks Chiefs tomorrow night, 6:30. Everyone should be watching. We'll see you next week on Strictly Sports.